and welcome back to yet another edition of Relax Radio. And you all know who we are. You all know what we're doing. You all know why you are here, what you are here for. We are about to make sure you go ahead and get everything you need right here on Relax Radio. And today is not like any other ordinary day you might be aware of. Today is not some day that you might just think, oh, okay, it's just another Relax Radio segment. Yes, it is another Relaxed Radio segment. However, today's segment is all about celebrating Naw Ruz. And Naw Ruz is obviously what we all need to make sure we stay connected to because we got so much going on that need to be a part of the show. But with that said, we are going to go ahead and introduce our guests for today's segments. Ladies and gentlemen, please do say hello to Dr. David Grant. Oh, I said doctor again. I'm sorry. I also have it. We have Miss Tiffany Southall, Arhinful Ansah, and Mozghan Shamsi. I really hope I was able to get all of your names right.
Yes.
Yes,
Perfect.
nobody has
Thank
any
you.
issue at all.
Perfect.
Lovely. That's 10 points to me. How's all of you doing today? I mean, it's Naw Ruz, and we are obviously celebrating an absolutely amazing day within the Bahai community. But we're here to make sure we find out how we can not just keep it within the Bahai community, how we can spread it across the world and maybe even across the universe. Who knows? I'm sure there's life out there. So I'd like to go ahead and begin with Mr. Grant. I hope I said it right this time. Hi, Mr. Grant. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. The sun has been shining all day. It's a fantastic day. It's the first day of spring. It's wonderful.
And I'm sure you must be feeling it more than normal because it's Naw Ruz. And we're all
It's Naw
celebrating
Ruz.
Naw Ruz today.
It is Baha'is all around the world, and a lot of Persian friends who aren't Baha'is, and other Zoroastrians, other people in the Middle East and Pakistan, Afghanistan, Azerbaijan are celebrating Naw Ruz today as well. So it's a very broad special meaning for the Baha'is. Of course, we'll touch on that maybe in a little while, but it's a great day today.
It definitely is. So, what I can't wait to obviously get to know more about Mr. Grant is Naw Ruz. Now, when it comes to us, when it comes to everybody else around the world, 365 days means 1st of January, and we're pretty much celebrating a brand new year. But today, if I'm not mistaken, is a brand new year for the Bahai community. And what makes today so different than everybody else?
That's right. I think Mozghan was going to talk a little bit about this. Is that right, Mozghan? So you could maybe explain a bit of background and what Naw Ruz is about in a bit more detail.
Hello. Hi. Yes, we
Thank
can
you.
hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Loud and clear. Do tell us what Naw Ruz is all about. Mozghan,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Well, at the outset, if you allow me, I would like to talk just a little bit about the Baha'i fasting period because it has a direct and significant connection with Naw Ruz, which is the Baha'i New Year. So the Baha'i fasting month has a duration of 19 days, like every other Baha'i month, and it precedes and falls right before Naw Ruz. It involves abstention from food and drink from sunrise to sunset, but it also involves prayer and reflection. It's actually all about spiritual recuperation and regeneration.
Oh, I think we seem to have a bit of a connectivity issue with Mozghan right now, but that's okay. Oh, she's back. Is she back? She is not back as of yet, so I'm just gonna politely move on to Tiffany. Hi, Tiffany. How are you today? And it is an absolute pleasure to have you.
Happy Naw Ruz.
Thank you so much. Happy Naw Ruz to you too, Tiffany. Okay, the world needs to know, how do you celebrate? Okay, no, how do you celebrate? Not how you celebrate, but how do you wish somebody on the day like this? Like we usually say Happy New Year, and we go on with the styles.
Say anything. I mean, I'm from a multicultural family, so that my dad is English and my mother is Persian. So you just basically adapt. I think you have to know your audience, and you know that better than everybody else. This is what you do. And essentially, I think a lot of people would be confused. So hence the reason why Mozghan started with, explaining what leads up to the fast, because for us, it's an amalgamation of so many different things. So seasonally, you have the spring equinox. We've just finished this period of intense sort of cleansing, if you like, cleansing our soul, cleansing our spirituality. And then
would you mind telling us a bit more about the whole cleansing process of this?
Yeah.
What exactly do you do to cleanse yourself?
I mean, it's very mystical, actually. You know, you have several religions that are mystical in essence, and I think we forget as Baha'is that because the Baha'i faith is so practical, you know, it's for this time, it's for this age, that actually there is this mysticism. And Baha'u'llah writes that every moment of the fast is endowed with special qualities. And what you find is once your heart stops having to pump so hard, you know, to digest food, I think in essence, you become a lot calmer. You feel like your connection with God is very, very close. And it's true, you start to feel all those questions, all those difficulties that you had, you start to find answers. They reveal themselves to you, and you start to form an idea of how you want the new year to go. So the year that then follows thereafter, you have a plan almost in your head. So a day like today is not just a celebration where you get to see your friends and celebrate with them. It's also really about, you know, New Year's resolutions and all the learnings that you've taken from the fast. You're excited to really put them into action.
We're pretty much talking about more or less a spiritual cleansing. We're not talking about how it's more of a fast. I mean, yes, it is a fast, and we do cleanse ourselves within ourselves during a fast, but this is more of a spirituality thing. It's not more about going out and celebrating and having a party or fun and games like we usually would. It's about, you know, making sure your mind, body, and soul are all cleansed.
Yeah, and then afterwards, yes, it's about meeting with your friends. Yeah, fun games, everything else. Absolutely, as many celebrations as you can possibly go to. I think I had a bit of a tough year. I fell and I damaged, you know, every part of my body. So for me, I'm particularly
What
excited
happened?
because I'm back to walking now. Oh, you know, it's just a freak accident. I was just out walking and I tripped and I flew, but unfortunately I landed on both kneecaps on stone. So the past year for me, it's been a lot
That's
of pain
horrible.
anyway to get myself physically back up again.
But
And
here you
plus,
are.
it's had
You're
a
still
double
smiling through it
effect on me.
all.
Do you know what? I'm just so grateful to have these precepts within my religion. And you know, you have them in every religion, they're common. The Baha'i faith teaches that all religions are one for a reason. That, you know, they do have a bodily effect as well, in that, you know, I know when I first fell, I was having such difficulty because I couldn't get rid of the inflammation. And then as soon as I thought, well, you know, I'm so sick, but I'm going to try fasting. And this is last year. And it got rid of all the inflammation. Scientifically, I think we're learning so much more about fasting now that you have fasting cardio, you have all types of things that scientists are starting to reveal, not least, I think, the thing that most interests me, having done A-level biology, is the stem cell research. But I could go on about this for forever. You know, the idea that when you fast physically, everything that's bad DNA wise gets eliminated from your body, and then your stem cells are pushed to build and regenerate. And I think for me, I've gone from being, you know, it's not quite a miracle because, you know, the doctor said that I would mend, but I've gone from being, you know, feeling like I couldn't even get down my stairs, you know, a year ago to walking maybe 15, 20,000 steps if I really want to. So I think I kind of, because I've grown up with this religion, I don't know how people deal with such bad circumstances, such terrible circumstances without precepts such as praying and fasting. But, you know, I count myself as lucky.
Okay, so I really do have to say I'm terribly sorry that most of those things, all of those things happened actually. I mean, it's crazy that you're here still making sure you go through all of it with a smile on your face. But before I move on to our next guest, I want to ask you, Tiffany, does being a part of the Baha'i community or the teachings that were instilled on you from a very early age, do you think all of those had a lot to do with how you got through this very tragic time in your life?
Yeah, I think 150%, because you're in so much physical pain that mentally you can't cope. It's too much to bear. So the thing that I told my friend, you know, that I would do when I woke up in the morning, and, you know, because the physical pain goes on for a long time, you just have to say your prayers. And I could, this is another show in itself, how to pray and how to get the most out of prayer. But we're taught as Baha'is that unless you have action that goes with prayer, nothing's going to happen. So I made it very simple for myself because I was kind of not conscious and trying to do my job and everything else. I woke up, I said a very long, powerful prayer that we have that says, you get 100, souls up there to help you. I made an action list, and then I literally put one foot in front of the other. That's how I got through.
Well, that's great. And it's brilliant to pretty much hear that, the Baha'i community and its teachings had a lot to instill. But Tiffany, I do have to go back to Mozghan because I think she's back. I think she's all right. I think she's okay. Hi, Mozghan. Are you hearing me? I think we lost you before while you were telling us what makes this New Year's celebration a lot different from everybody else. And of course, and you were also telling us how we celebrate a day like today.
The fasting period, the Baha'i fasting period, is so closely connected and symbolically significant in connection with Naw Ruz. During the fasting period, we strive to bring about positive transformation in our inner lives in preparation for the new year. So fasting actually becomes a symbol and a reminder. Just as we refrain from eating and drinking during the fast, we keep away from food and drink. Our minds and our hearts also need to keep away from, wrongdoing, from vices, from, bad words, bad actions, bad thoughts, even bad feelings, negative feelings about others. Actually, like things like backbiting, bitterness, hatred, even jealousy or envy are all ruled out. And we begin the new year with a radiant heart and a new mindset. So Naw Ruz actually celebrates new beginnings. And it's good to see how people from various religions during their religious festivals, such as Naw Ruz, for Baha'is, we all like to dress up. Say, for example, in Bangladesh, Baha'is also dress up for Naw Ruz festival. Women wear new saris, new shalwar kameezes, new tops. Men wear new Punjabis or shirts or whatever. Put on perfume. Women wear perhaps new jewelry, and it's all beautiful. It's all fine. We all do it. Even I do it. But we also believe that just as we physically would like to look good, we also must look good, must adorn our spirits, our hearts, and our souls with virtues.
It's not just about looking good from the outside. It's about looking good from the inside as well, isn't it?
Yes, inside and outside as well. And so we purify ourselves. Say, for example, I need to ask myself, is my neighbor happy with me? Have I caused, any sort of unhappiness to anyone? What about my family members, my relatives, my friends? And have I forgiven anyone whom I believed had done me wrong? And all of that. There's just this one more thing. There's also this, this other symbol that is associated with Naw Ruz, and that is about the appearance of the messengers of God. There is a physical springtime, and then there is a divine springtime. The physical springtime has to do with earthly life, and the divine springtime has to do with the appearance of the messenger of God. So the physical springtime occurs on the vernal equinox, which comes about on March 21st in the northern hemisphere. And it's when the day and the night are equal, and the weather is very huge energy and a kind of regeneration in the vegetable and the animal kingdoms. There is greenery, there is fragrance, flowers and trees blossom, and it's all beautiful. This is the physical springtime. But then there is also a divine springtime, and it is symbolized by the appearance of the messengers of God. To Baha'is, Naw Ruz takes on an added significance because they are reminded of Baha'u'llah's appearance, who was the founder of the Baha'i faith, and his declaration in 1863, and his cardinal principle of the oneness of humankind, which is what all the Baha'is throughout the world strive to achieve. And actually every single member of all of the religions, all of the races and nationalities, cultures, languages, ethnicities are welcome to join in the spectacular and dramatic process of transition from otherness to oneness. Yeah.
Can't just be a Baha'i or part of the Baha'i community just for the sake of it or just for the namesake. You need to make sure you actually practice its teachings. You need to make sure you practice what you preach. You can't say you're in the Baha'i community and then do something completely different. Yeah, we all make mistakes. We all go through ups and downs in life, but it's up to us to make sure that we learn what we can from it and hope for the better. We've been having quite an interesting conversation so far. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I'm sure we have Arhinful Ansah and Mr. David Grant, who have quite a lot to say, but we do have to move into a very small break. In the meantime, don't forget that all of you can make sure you stay tuned in right here on Relax Radio. If you haven't downloaded our app, what are you waiting for? Christmas? Because it's going to be too late for that. Make sure you go ahead and download the app right now. Like us on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on TikTok. We are on Instagram. We are pretty much everywhere across the world and available to you at your fingertips. All you have to do is make sure you go ahead and check us out right now. Stay tuned in. We'll be right back.
Is your employer taking advantage of you? Well, let's find out. This is The Naked Show, and my name is Kyle, and welcome to Relaks Radio. First things first, workers of a lower wage have suffered more during this pandemic. They have been let go of their jobs unfairly. Those who have shown much loyalty to their employer have now been dropped without a warning. And now many of them are facing unemployment. The employers have forgotten the main reason why their company is doing great. That's because every employer thinks that every employee is just another replacement. Now, those who have lost the means of money, the loss of means of income, are struggling to look after their families. A special message for the employers. Do not treat people who work for you unfairly. They are the ones working for you and for your company and for your success. They are humans after all, just like you. They value their jobs. Don't take that away from them. What's wrong with you? Value them just like they value you. As we all know, loyalty is very important in any business. If you do not value your employee loyalty, then they will never value what you stand for or what you are trying to build. Word will spread to many and no one will want to work for you. Which means what you have built will come crashing down because that is what you deserve for what you did. This is The Naked Show. My name is Kyle, and you're listening to Relaks Radio. Have a good day.
And just like that, we are back. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Relaks Radio. You already know what this is. You already know who this is. In case you don't, my name's Abid. I'm with you all the way till the end of this show, and we are celebrating Naw Ruz. And if you are wondering what that is, if you're wondering what's it all about, it's a special day, a very special day, the beginning of a brand new month or a day or a year for the Bahai community. And if you want to find out what exactly that is, all you have to do is stay tuned in right here on Relaks Radio. Don't forget that you can stream and watch us live on the app. It's available on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. You also need to make sure you go ahead and check out us on our website, subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and on TikTok as well. But we're going to get right into the show, welcoming our guest for today. Hi, everybody. How are all of you doing?
Hey.
No collective hi, no collective Naw Ruz, no collective, none of that. Okay, all right, cool. I did actually say that we are going to be talking to Arhinful Ansah. I really hope that I got your name right. Did I, sir? I did?
You did.
I did. Lovely. Brilliant. Well, Arhinful. I really want to know what the meaning of your name is. It's really intriguing.
Yeah, it's a Ghanaian name.
Okay.
Yes, and
it has to be a deeper meaning to it.
Yes,
I'm sure. Or you just don't want to tell us.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to tell us what could that possibly mean? Now you just have all of us wondering.
Well, it doesn't have any particular meaning, but it's a more traditional name.
Traditional name. All right, lovely. Well, Arhinful Ansah, do go ahead and let me know and let the world know, actually, what is Naw Ruz to you, how it is inspired by some of the Kenyan culture that you might even have, and what it is doing to make you the person you are today in life.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. I think as Mozghan explained quite a lot in terms of Naw Ruz celebration. And I think we also touch in terms of, I think one another symbolic significance of Naw Ruz is this idea of oneness of the manifestations of God, and how their teachings, helping us to understand, the significance of their teachings. And I think in the Baha'i faith, one beautiful thing we come to realize is that we are all one human family, and we believe that all religions are one, and we also believe that, the manifestation of God, or you may call it prophet, or whatever way you want to call it, they are also one. And this is one important thing the Baha'i faith help us to understand. And by understanding this process, it also help us to understand this idea of oneness of humanity. And I think during this time of Naw Ruz for celebration, we have a chance to associate with everyone. Whatever your background, whether Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, non-believer, whatever it is, we have the opportunity to celebrate together, associate together, and try to learn from each other. Because at the end of the day, we are all, one human family. And as Baha'u'llah described the human family as, it's like a garden with different colors of flowers, which make it very beautiful. Because if it's the same one color, I don't think we might not be able to enjoy, like you have a garden, you don't want to have even the same color of rose or the same whatever it is in it.
You would want a variety.
Different colors. And I think that is the essence of our creation. God made us different colors, different, size, everything. But we are all one human family. And I think the one aspect of the Naw Ruz is also helping us to appreciate that fact that we are all one human family. And this is the moment we all should come together and celebrate, enjoy, and enjoy the company of being, together with others. And so I think that is for me one of the most beautiful significance of Naw Ruz. And also coming from my previous religion, I was born as a Christian before I became a Bahai.
Okay.
And I remember very well, Christmas, New Year, resolution, a whole lot of things.
As Christians, there's a lot of celebrations. Yes.
Exactly. And I think this is another one way as in the Baha'i faith, we see, we celebrate that moment. I think you have similar events, in Hinduism, and in Islam. Yeah. So it is that sense of that spiritual renewal, we learn to forget all our past and re-embody ourselves. See, how best can I develop myself? How best can I contribute to my fellow human beings? And personally, during this, before the Naw Ruz, like during the fasting, one thing I decided to do was to try to always go out to talk to strangers, people I've never met before, bring some smile to their face. And I thought it was one of the most beautiful things I was able to do. And I think I was able to do this because of the spirit of the Naw Ruz, be able to go out and share my joy, whichever little way it is, with others. And I think personally that is what I'm sure we all, every Bahai, with our friends and our family, we all try to do to bring, make this world at least a better place for us. And because we know that's a process, and we've been promised that yes, that great peace will come. So, but we need to start working. And I think, at one point, Baha'u'llah describes, says that the world is tired of words. What it needs is deeds. And so it's not just about professing our belief, but actually put into action. How do we practically show that to others? And I think, personally, that's what Naw Ruz also it means to me, putting that writings in the practical effect. How do you bring that happiness, that love, that kindness to our fellow human beings?
I do have to ask, when you do join the Baha'i community, obviously you have a community, you have people with you, you have friends, family that will support you, but not a lot of people are blessed to have the company that you and I maybe would have. So if we were to say that there was somebody who did want to be a Baha'i, but doesn't want to be a part of the community, doesn't want to be an extroverted person who goes out and about and goes to celebrations, goes to meetings, goes to functions, and gets to know how to become a Baha'i. If someone was to become a Baha'i of their own faith, they could totally do that. Am I right?
Yes, it is. I will refer you to one beautiful statement in front of me. It says, be anxiously concerned with the needs of the age you live in and center your deliberation on its exigencies and requirements. And so as such, Baha'i throughout the world, both individually and collectively, we strive to become involved in the life of society, working shoulder to shoulder with diverse groups to contribute to the advancement of material and spiritual civilization. All the work we try to do, it's not just Baha'is alone. We work alongside everyone, whether you are Christian, Muslim, whichever background you come from. Because at the end of the day, we all want to see a better world. We want to see a world whereby our children can grow up and live in harmony with each other. We want to live in a world whereby there is no war, a world whereby there's no extreme poverty, a world whereby there's no extreme wealth, a world whereby everybody see each other as brothers and sisters. And so we don't, it's not about the name Bahai. Baha'u'llah is for everyone, all the humanity, whether you are Christian, Muslim, whichever background you come from. His teachings, is for everyone. And so we work alongside everybody, in our community. Like my father is not a Bahai, but we have a close relationship together. My friends are not Bahai, and we have good relationship together. We try to work together, in constructive way, how could we better ourselves, and at the same time to contribute for the betterment of our fellow human being. So our work is not just within the Baha'is, for everybody. So yes, so and that's why we are so glad to be in this space, to the Relaks Radio, sharing these teachings with everyone listening to you.
It's a pleasure having you here and everybody else here on board with us today. I'm telling you, it does not, you can't really fathom how much it takes for people like you to come on board and give us your time to pretty much tell the world about what the Baha'i community is all about. And I think it's crazy because even though it's just the five of us here having a conversation from different parts of the world, all it takes is just one person to take a look at this video. Doesn't matter how he or she might see it. If they see it and they find solace, if they find that peace that they might be looking for, that's the job done. That's pretty much all it takes. And I would like to go ahead and ask Mr. David Grant. Hello. You've been awfully quiet today, unfortunately. I mean, yes, you did speak quite a lot the previous time, and I'm sure you have quite a lot to share with us this time as well. But do tell me how your Naw Ruz celebrations have been going so far, Mr. David Grant.
They've been great. We had last night, some of our friends in our Bahai community went to a lovely Persian restaurant. I live down in Kent, so it was in a town in Kent. Fabulous time. I've been out with some friends this afternoon. They're not Baha'is, but just sharing and spending some time with them, really. So it's been a wonderful time. I think to pick up on Arhinful's point, we don't make Baha'is, we find them. You know, I think if you talk to people about the state of the world and what's going on, you know, we talk about the Baha'i principles about universal education, equality of men and women and so on. Most people are pretty okay with these things and say, well, what's the big deal, you know? But actually, this is my words, not in the teachings. I sort of think about Baha'u'llah's revelation in the middle of the 19th century as like a spiritual nuclear explosion that affected the whole world.
In a good way, obviously.
Yeah, in a good way. And Baha'u'llah teaches that now is the time. He fulfills all the prophecies of all the major faiths in terms of the return of the spirit of those faiths are embodied in him. So this is a huge step forward because mankind is now ready to be able to accept that we know the world we live in. We understand the time of Christ and Muhammad with greatest respect. The world was not known to the extent it is now. So we have this term we call progressive revelation, where it's like chapters in a book, that it's the same book, but different chapters have come at different times, and the prophets come and share their teachings that is appropriate for the time in which that person lives. And the same is with the Baha'i faith. We're now into a global civilization. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? So it's a very unifying aspect there, really, to the faith. And I think it's wonderful to talk to people about these solutions. We look at what's going on in the world today, and we think, you know, we keep seeing that with war and poverty and so on, it just continues and continues. We need a step change, and as you know, we need to work actively in our communities. We don't sit on a high horse and saying, you know, look at you, look at us, we're great. Absolutely the reverse. We're out there rolling our sleeves up, getting on with it, working in communities in a very practical way. That's one thing I love about this faith. It's so practical. There are Baha'is in every country in the world, on the planet. It's a global faith, and it's touching the hearts of many people. And Naw Ruz is just another wonderful opportunity, if you like, to share that. But to get across this basic message, which is so simple, so fundamental, yet as Tiffany was saying earlier, it's very powerful spiritually. It has an incredible depth to it, and mysticism, like all the great faiths of the world do. And when people say to me, as a Baha'i, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Jew, I'm a Buddhist, and so forth, because we embody the spiritual teachings of all those faiths are the same. The only differences are the laws and rules, which changed over time at the time to suit the age of the time, in the same way with the Baha'i teachings, and that will continue. Baha'u'llah is not the last. Muhammad talks about being the seal of the prophets. That prophetic cycle ended with Muhammad. We're now in a golden age with Baha'u'llah to move forward. So it's this progressive, and it makes sense to me. It sort of all clicked to me. You know, when I was in my teens, I wasn't born a Baha'i. I began Baha'i when I was 18. And I think it's about understanding that there's far, far more in the world that unites us than divides us. And given the opportunity to work together and work alongside each other, we can build this world. And we have to deal with the challenges of the the politics and all the nasty things going on, we can't ignore those. We don't ignore those. We have to work alongside them. But we're trying to build this civilization in a way that we hope will replace what's going on at the moment. So it's a very empowering faith, both personally, but also in terms of the communities that we're working in as well.
I mean, yes, you did mention this the previous time as well, and it's great to see you bringing it up again, Dr. Grant. Dr. Grant, I really need to do something about my memory. But what I do meant to ask you is, you did mention, yes, in every part of the globe, in every country, every nation, we have people who studied the Baha'i teachings, who studied the Baha'i faith, and obviously want to make sure they do everything they can to, make it grow. But if I were to get into the political side of things, if I were to say, does the government have a lot to do with spreading the message of the Baha'i community? And if the government was to do so, can they? Will it become a religious political affair, or is it something that the government can actually support? And is it just more about the people within the community taking a stand and spreading the message? Do tell us, Mr. Grant.
Yeah, but we don't. We're not party. We don't follow party politics. We have certainly in the UK, the Baha'i community has a wonderful relationship with the British government in terms of ministers and then MPs and so on. In the same way we do in the United Nations. We have an office there, and it's very successful in a non-political way, if you like. But we believe that the fundamental nature of politics, you and me, the sort of divisiveness of it all is just not the right model. It needs to be built on a spiritual foundation that has to be practical and sensible in terms of what we do, of course. So we don't align ourselves with any party politics, because it creates disunity. And if you could just sum up the Baha'i faith in one word, it's unity. And Baha'u'llah forbade any splits, any denominations, or whatever you choose to call them, within the Baha'i faith. He said, no, we are one faith, and we will remain one faith. So that power of unity is absolutely fundamental in anything we do in our daily lives and so on. So aligning ourselves, or getting involved, should I say, in a significant way with any sort of organization that has that divisive or challenging nature is not what we do. We're not about that. We have a totally different sort of agenda, if you like, one which we think in the long term will be far more productive and more peaceful, and we can still achieve its goals.
I swear you could just write a book on the teachings of Baha'i yourself as well, Mr. Grant. I mean, every time you do have something new to hit me with, some kind of wise quote or wise words that definitely all of us need to hear.
Well, Baha'u'llah revealed over 1,000 volumes of writings, and incredible range, many which are still being translated into other languages. That many of them were revealed in Persian or Arabic. And we have those written writings. We're very, very fortunate that other faiths, because of passage of time, we have the original writings sealed by Baha'u'llah. So if there is any doubt, we can go back to those. And we have Baha'u'llah introduced a world administrative system, both locally, nationally, and globally. So we have a structure in place to help us make sure that we retain a clear understanding of those teachings. We're very fortunate in a way, in living in the age we are, to be able to have that. And that just cements the unity of the faith even more so going forward. It's wonderful. It's an amazing faith. Absolutely amazing.
It really is. Just like you mentioned, there's a lot more that has to be translated, a lot more that has to be understood, and a lot more that we will all be getting into right after a small break, of course. We are here with Mr. David Grant, Ms. Tiffany Southall, Mr. Arhinful Ansah, Mrs. Mozghan, Shamsi. We are going to make sure that we get more into the understandings and teachings of the Baha'i faith right here on Relaks Radio. But in the meantime, if you haven't downloaded our app, if you haven't followed us on our social media platforms, you are missing out on a lot, and we got a whole lot coming your way too. So all you have to do is make sure you stay tuned in right here on Relaks Radio. My name's Abid, and I will be right back.
Celebrities are everyone's idols. Welcome to The Naked Show. My name is Kyle, and this is Relaks Radio. Some celebrities have earned the title celebrity because of their hard work, but mostly because of their assets. In our lowest times, we always look to our celebrities for comfort and also for motivation to keep moving forward. If it's a man, people like Dwayne Johnson, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, his life story has inspired millions of people. But there are other celebrities who, this is where the assets come in. Some time ago, a recent celebrity just wore from what you would say covered from head to toe in black. But as you know, there are a lot of people out there who wear from head to toe in public because of religious views. People just look at them and just be like, that could be a terrorist under there. But if a celebrity wears it to a gala, everyone is like, oh, that's her. All because of assets. Isn't that discrimination? While one person is being praised, the other gets hate. A word of advice, do not give the wrong people too much power. Everyone has free will and everyone is free to become whoever and whatever they want. During this time, why not think of yourself as a celebrity? It all starts with a pebble to build the mountain. This is The Naked Show, where we talked about the truth and nothing but the truth. My name is Kyle. This is Relaks Radio. Until next time.
Gentlemen, hello, hi, and yes, it's been quite an interesting turn of events today because we are celebrating Naw Ruz, and we definitely could not be happier. Without further ado, we'd like to introduce our guests once again. We have David Grant, Tiffany Southall, Arhinful Ansah, and Mozghan Shamsi. And yes, I really hope all of you are having an absolutely perfect start to Naw Ruz. And you're here on Relaks Radio. We're here making sure we let the world know what the Baha'i community is all about, what Naw Ruz is about, and obviously how you can be a part of not just Relaks Radio, but everything else that we have to do right here on board the show. And without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and talk to Mozghan Shamsi. Okay, I really would like you to please introduce yourself one more time for the community.
University teacher. I'm a writer and I enjoy conducting courses online and offline. on current social issues.
All right, lovely. So social issues is something that you have a lot of experience in when it comes to, how teachings of Baha'i obviously were given out to the community, how people decided to understand more and more about the Baha'i community. But what I would love to know and I would like to find out more about is how did the Baha'i community come to be as popular as it is today? Now, yes, we did actually have a time where we had the people understanding what the teachings were, what they could decipher, what they could translate, and what they could understand. But what was the period of time that we actually saw the Baha'i community blowing up? When did it catch on? Because I know we can't really call it a trend because it's more of a belief. But how did this belief spread as fast as it has today?
Okay,
I see you going through your notes, you're going through your books, she's about to
yeah,
hit me with all the facts. Let's go.
yeah. I have written quite a bit because I was really looking forward to your interesting questions, very intriguing questions, very good questions. Thank you very much. So, uh, at the outset, let me just read a statement from Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i faith,
Of
where he
course.
says the purpose for which mortal men have from utter nothingness stepped into the realm of being is that they may work for the betterment of the world and live together in concord and harmony. We actually see here three special components in the purpose of creation.
Okay.
The first is about individuals. The second is about societies, change coming over in societies, betterment of the world. And the third is about living in concord and unity. Now, uh, they do not come, one after the other. It's not that the first one is more important and the second one is less important. They actually come together. But the individual is supposed to be working for the betterment of the world, and so I'm going to answer your question in a bit of time.
Of course.
Uh, when we need to work for the betterment of the world, we definitely need to have something to offer that that would actually work for the betterment towards the betterment of the world. That something cannot be dishonesty, untrustworthiness, bitterness, prejudice, and excessive, obsession over materialistic life. That something needs to be, a part of our good qualities that we need to develop, like trustworthiness, generosity, compassion, and fair-mindedness, forgiveness, and all of those things. So this is where the role of moral education comes into play, and that role is actually, very important. In fact, it is gigantic. I'm going to talk just briefly about this since you have asked, but I'm sure our other friends would like to talk more specifically about it, and especially about how it has worked in their respective countries, or about the outcomes they have seen. Now, your question is answered right here. It is since these activities started off in the Baha'i world community that a great, stride was made, and the peoples of the world um, were interested to join the programs set up by the Baha'i world community, which comprised of courses for every member of the human race, regardless of what their religion was, what their nationality, race, or color was, or what ethnicity or culture they belonged to. Everyone was welcome to join these courses. Uh, the participants were, welcome to join from the age of 5 onwards. And these courses basically are aimed at two things. They fulfill two specific aims. One is to assist the participant to acquire good virtues, and the second one is to build capacities, impart skills, so that the participants become uh, agents of change in their own families, communities, and societies. So, basically speaking, there are children's classes, junior youth programs, and adults. Children, for example, learn through stories, quotations, drawings, and even uh, specially designed games, cooperative games that teach consultation and cooperation instead of competition. You see, and for the junior youth, it's the same thing, imparting of skills and building capacities, and also assisting them to acquire virtues. There are practical components in the junior youth programs, such as cleaning up the environment, looking after the helping out younger students with their studies, and so on and so forth. And one thing about the adult study circles, which is very interesting, is that the tutors do not act as teachers. They actually simply
Mentor.
accompany the students to learn. We all share our views and experiences, feelings, and thoughts, and so everyone adopts a posture of learning. The other thing is about the devotional gatherings. This one is really important because it brings people of various religions, followers of various religions together, um, in calling a single creator to mind, in worshiping him. And it builds solidarity because when we come together, and even if we call God by a different name, but we
Yeah.
come together, there is a binding. And say for example, Buddhists, Hindus, Christians, Jews, Muslims, and Baha'is come together, and they bring their own scriptures. Each one can bring their own scriptures and recite from there. The first thing is that we bond together because we are worshiping the same God. The second thing is that because we are reading the holy writings, that creates insights, and everyone gains inspiration. So that's the important thing about devotional gatherings.
And that's exactly what I
There's a
expected.
lot.
I mean,
There's a lot more to it, but I'm sure our other friends would like to contribute to
of course. Well, I would
this
obviously like to
understanding.
thank you for making sure you told us about how exactly the Baha'i community blew up and made sure it became as popular as it is today. And you couldn't have said it any better. Thank you so much. But I do have to ask Tiffany a question. And Tiffany, the question I would like to ask you is when it comes to the Baha'i community, now we do see it empowering people, making sure we keep people together, making sure people spread the message of positivity, unity, and love. But in a day and age like today, where a lot of things are being developed, a lot of things are being understood better than it was before, and a lot of things are more or less just changing. Could you tell me how the Baha'i community does and what it does to empower women in the society, and not just women within the Baha'i community, but women in all societies as a whole?
I think two ways basically, and the first way is very very simple. Again, when you break down the Baha'i faith, everything is very inclusive. So if things aren't simple, you need to make sure that anybody from any walk of life can walk into the Baha'i faith. So the first thing is that we don't have hierarchy. Okay,
We're
so we
all
have no
one. We're all
clergy,
equal.
no hierarchy. Exactly. We have a tiered system, but as David said, it's purely administrative. There's no canvassing for votes. Everything's done by secret ballot. So that's the first thing. And that is aimed towards people gaining administrative positions where they have proven ability or maturity. In fact, we're told to pray on these principles before we even put pen to paper and vote for somebody. The
That's
second
great.
thing is that women have a pivotal role. Baha'u'llah has not just said that women in this day and age, have to be equal. He has said that unless and until women do become equal, you know, there is no possibility of world peace, because this is the biggest prejudice in the world today. So, as a mixed race woman walking into a Baha'i community and event, I know that I have a voice. And I would hope that to a smaller or large extent, I use it to help my community. We build very much from grassroots upwards. So the women are involved at every level. And I think from a young child, you definitely feel that the various virtues that you gain through to being a teenager and being able to custom build these projects for your community. I mean, that's pivotal, because before you even reach the age of adulthood, you have an active role. So, going back, can you hear me all right?
You're
Or is
loud
my
and
phone?
clear, loud and clear, and we're absolutely loving the conversation right now because you are giving us a lot of insight as to how much of a pivotal role that the Baha'i community plays when it comes to not just empowering people but women as well. But please do go on.
Yeah. So you came up with a really brilliant and interesting question, and it really hit me, because obviously you go through periods of great activity, and then obviously if you're hit with something quite literally like me, then you have a period of less activity. And you mentioned that what if you have somebody that doesn't want to be involved in what we call these core activities, the children's lessons, the devotionals, which is just basically praying, by the way. I think the answer is that even if you're a very shy person, naturally I'm very introverted, I'm very, very shy, you, because of the inclusivity, because of the equality, because of the fact that, you know, we don't have clergy, but you're told you have to bring yourself to account at the end of every day, which is, why the fast is so great. And this is what Mozghan was talking about. It means that when you sit in a Baha'i environment, even if you're not brave, even if at first you feel that you cannot contribute, you find yourself wanting to give this spark to others in the community and to build with them, and to custom fit. It's not one size fits all, although we have these principles and we have the core activities. It's essential that you throw away the idea that one size fits all, because in Tower Hamlets community, we're even divided from south to north. I don't know if you know my community in London, but in the south you have affluence. You have Canary Wharf, you have the bankers, and then in my northern community, it's very much Bangladeshi Muslim, with a lot less, money to give and to spend. So if I did the same as some of my friends down in Canary Wharf, it wouldn't work. So what Arhinful was saying about him really choosing to just say hello to his neighbors. That's how you can begin. Just say hello.
All starts with a simple hello. I really could not put it any simpler than that. It just takes, it's simply a matter of saying hi to somebody, and that's all it takes. And right now, looking at each and every one of your smiles, I'm telling you, it's the happiness that transcends through more than just people. It's more of your souls connecting, it's more of your brain understanding what exactly is going on. It's like the energy is felt no matter where you are. And that's the most beautiful thing about the Baha'i community. And I'm sure that the Baha'i community or the Baha'i faith in itself drives each and every one of you differently. I'm sure all of you don't see it the same way, even though you'll all see one vision, one goal. It's all seen in different ways, in different manners, in different perspectives. And that's, I think, what the most beautiful part of the Baha'i community is. But I'd like to ask Dr. Grant. Dr. Grant, I'm sure by the end of the show, you're gonna be a doctor. You're gonna get a certificate delivered to your house, and you're gonna be a fully fledged doctor. Don't you think, Mr. Grant?
Sorry, say that again. I missed the last piece.
You're gonna be a doctor by the end of this show.
That's
That's all
right.
I said.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
And our Hinful, obviously, when I did mention that, this drives us, everybody else in different ways. I'm sure what we can understand is that even when it comes to family, even when it comes to your closest of family, this is what drives you. This is what makes you who you are. And this is what drives you to do even better within the Baha'i community, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for Bahai, I think one thing that drives us most personally is seeing the state of the world we live in now. We are living in a world whereby we are looking at two forces operating. We see the force of disintegration, where it manifests itself through, now let's say in Europe now, you see war going on now. We see pandemic, how some families cannot even afford to have a basic thing. We see poverty. We see a whole lot of things going on. And on the other side, we see another force which is trying to integrate us together, bring us together, helping us to identify new values, new understanding, new way of doing things. How can we come together and look at each other as one human family? And you see all these forces operating within us. And the Baha'i faith at the moment, what we are working towards to is to be able to look at those forces that bring us together. And that means working with each other, supporting each other, trying to help each other. And I think every Baha'i, we have been able, we have that sense of common vision. I think David mentioned one earlier about the Baha'i structure. And in the Baha'i faith, like we have what we call the supreme body called the Universal House of Justice. And they provide us that guidance that every Baha'i, we follow through this guidance. And so it has helped us to have one common vision, one common understanding, and one common purpose that what we are doing. And also we are doing it not just within ourselves, but actually involving our communities, involving our friends, involving our neighborhood. And I think one can also touch a few bit about in terms of what are some of the social things that we are doing. And one thing I would touch on is we call it a steady circle. And the steady circle, the purpose of that is actually helping us to develop ourselves spiritually. At the same time, help us to develop materially. And so we are not just saying, okay, we can, we just focus about how do I develop myself spiritually, but at the same time too, how do I develop myself materially? And being able to help myself, my family, my friends, and also contribute constructively and productively to my community. So the benefit of that is not just for myself or my family, but actually to be able to contribute to the whole of society. And one beautiful thing about how and we look at this as one of the key part of like education Baha'u'llah or the Baha'i faith we are focusing on. And I will share one thing about how Baha'u'llah describes education. It says that man is a supreme talisman. Lack of proper education have, however, deprived him of that which he doeth inherently possess. And it goes on to say that regard man as a mind rich in gems of inestimable value. Education can alone cause it to reveal its treasures and enable mankind to benefit therefrom. Now, I was listening to some of the during the break time, and we see sometimes injustice and even employment, a whole lot of social things in life. And the question is, how could we, change this? How could we contribute productively to that? How could we ensure that we are not just focusing just within ourselves, but actually we are looking at for the well-being of everyone, or for the welfare of everyone, through our application of spiritual principles like being honesty, fairness, justice, truthfulness, all of these key things, in the Baha'i faith, it mentioned. So we are helping to, share these teachings with everyone. And as I think we shared earlier, all this education we have is for everyone. And so I think Mozghan touched in a bit earlier in terms of, let's say, children. Now, in the Baha'i communities throughout the world, we have what we call children class. And the purpose of this is actually spiritual education. It's about virtues, helping these children to understand what it means by truthfulness, what it means to be honest, what it means to be respectful. So children are learning that. We are now looking to junior youth, for example, between the ages of 11 to 15. And we know that this stage is a stage whereby the youth are actually trying to identify themselves. Who is the idea of me or I, identity. So how do we help them to navigate all those negative forces around them? So Baha'i faith are socially involved in these spaces, where we are helping the youth to identify all these social issues, both negative and positive, and be able to help them to be able to, keep themselves in that right path. And then, like I also mentioned earlier, in terms of the study circles, how do we help everyone to come together, study the writings of God, and use that teachings to be able to better ourselves, our family, and also contribute constructively to our community. So everything we do is all about community building. It's all about community building. And this year in particular, the beautiful thing is the whole Baha'i world, we have embarked what we call a conferences globally. And we are looking at it in different ways about how could we make this world a better place? And that's the key objective. How could we bring a society a better? And so all over the world, Baha'is are bringing their friends, their family, everybody, different places, reflecting together, sharing together, sharing their thought, everything. How could we contribute? And it's everyone. It's not just the Baha'is. We are all working because the betterment of the world is not just for Baha'is, it's for everyone. And then when society also suffers, it's not only non-Baha'is. We all Baha'i, we all suffer. And so I think for me, that idea of making sure I can contribute to elevate those suffering, I think that's what drives me to be more engaged in the community, share my ideas, share whatever I know. It doesn't mean that we know everything. We learn from each other, like the questions you are asking. I'm learning so much from you. The way you're asking the questions, very deep question. We are all learning, and this is how we approach an attitude of in the Baha'i community, that idea of learning from each other, because we can't say we have all the answers. Absolutely not. But we learn from each other, associate with each other, show that love and humility, everything. Yeah.
The day you actually think you know it all is the day I think you stop learning anything at all.
So,
But I think you couldn't have said it any better. If the world becomes a better place, it's not just about the Baha'is getting a better place, the whole world gets to enjoy a better place. And if the world suffers, it's not just the Baha'is that are going to suffer, everybody is going to be unfortunately suffering. But unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show for today. And we've obviously learned quite a lot about Naw Ruz, to how the Baha'i faith does actually bring a lot of people together. We learned about how there's so much more to learn, so much more to translate, so much more to decipher, and so much more to understand. And to be honest, I can't wait till we do all of that. I can't wait till we decipher more and more. And I can't wait to see each and every one of you, maybe one day in person. You never know. The Baha'i community could become a strength that we all look forward to and a strength that brings us all together. So just like it brought us all here together, I would like to end things off with a couple of words that Mr. Grant would like to say to our listeners. Obviously, letting them know that they can be a part of the Baha'i community. They can go ahead and celebrate Naw Ruz today in any simple way that they can. And obviously, a couple of last words to everybody listening.
Our thoughts and feelings and your really good questions. Naw Ruz is the first day of a new year. Celebrate it and look forward. For those who want information about the Baha'i faith, check us out online at bahai.org. That's bahai.org. Find us in the phone book, find out where the Baha'is are, and come and say hello. It would be lovely to meet you, talk to you a bit more about this amazing faith, and indeed celebrate this new year and this new beginning with you as well.
Well, couldn't have said any better. Thank you so much, Dr. Grant. I told you, doctor is definitely what you're going to become before the end of the day. But everybody else, I hope each and every one of you had an absolutely amazing time right here on Relaks Radio. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. David Grant, Ms. Tiffany Southall, Mr. Arhinful Ansah, and Mrs. Mozghan Shamsi. I hope each and every one of you have an absolutely amazing Naw Ruz, and thank you so much for being here on Relaks Radio. I hope to see you all again soon. I hope to see a lot more celebrations from the Baha'i community, and except for Relaks Radio, I hope we all keep in touch as well. And that's definitely what the Baha'i community does. So thank you all, each and every one of you being here. And of course, once again, happy Naw Ruz.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
See each and every one of you soon. Bye. Take care. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
And just like that, we've come to the end of the show for today. We've come to an absolutely amazing session that we had with Mr. Grant, Mr. Arhinful, and Mozghan, and as well as Tiffany. Of course, stay tuned in. We got a whole lot more coming your way. Amazing stuff that you need to be a part of. If you haven't followed us on our socials, you're missing out. Follow us on Instagram. Go like us on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok. And make sure you be a part of everything we got lined up for you. If you haven't downloaded the app, download the app right now. It's available for free, by the way, on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. And hey, you got to make sure you stay tuned in right here on Relaks Radio. My name is Abid. I'll see you again soon. Make sure you take care, stay safe,